The latest numbers from physical therapy clinics across America tell a story most people over 60 never hear. Roughly 70% of knee replacements in older adults can be traced back to one activity their doctors told them was the safest exercise on earth: walking. And here's the part that'll make you pause mid-step. The very motion we've been taught protects our joints is quietly wearing them down in ways that don't show up until the damage is already done. But before you think I'm about to tell you to stop moving altogether, let me be clear. Movement is life. The question is which movements build you up after 60 and which ones silently take you apart. What you're about to hear isn't some fringe theory. It's backed by research coming out of orthopedic centers, longevity institutes, and rehab facilities where they see the aftermath every single day. And yes, there are specific things you can do starting tomorrow morning in your own home that reverse the wear patterns most 60-plus adults don't even know they have. I'm going to walk you through 6 hidden truths about movement after 60. Number 6 might surprise you. Number 2 is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about cardio. And number 1, the one I'm saving for last, is a 5-minute morning routine that researchers are calling the single most effective joint protection protocol for people in their 7th decade and beyond. Before we dive in, drop a comment right now and tell me how old you are and where you're watching from. I want to know who's in this room with me today. Let's start with number 6, the repetitive stress trap. Here's what happens. Every time your foot hits the pavement, a force equal to about 1.5 times your body weight travels up through your ankle, your knee, your hip. For a person weighing 160 pounds, that's 240 pounds of impact per step. Multiply that by the 5,000 steps a day your doctor recommends and you're looking at over 500,000 pounds of cumulative force on joints that, after 60, are already dealing with thinner cartilage, less synovial fluid, and slower repair cycles. Now, does that mean walking is bad? Not exactly. It means the way most people walk, on hard surfaces in shoes that don't absorb shock properly, with a stride that's too long and a pace that's too fast, turns a low-impact activity into a high-wear one. The cartilage in your knee is like a sponge. It needs compression and release to stay healthy. But if you compress it thousands of times a day without giving it time to recover, without mixing in movements that restore range of motion, that sponge starts to break down. And unlike a cut on your skin, cartilage doesn't heal itself. Once it's gone, it's gone. A major analysis looking at osteoarthritis progression found that older adults who walked for exercise without incorporating joint-nourishing movement patterns showed faster cartilage thinning over a 5-year period compared to those who combined walking with specific mobility work. The difference wasn't small. It was the difference between staying active at 75 and needing a walker at 72. Let me tell you about Margaret. 63, former schoolteacher, loved her morning walks around the neighborhood. 3 miles, 5 days a week, same route, same pace. She felt great until she didn't. One day she noticed a clicking in her left knee. Then a dull ache that wouldn't quit. Her doctor said it was normal wear and tear, told her to keep walking, maybe add some ibuprofen. 6 months later, she could barely get up from a chair without wincing. When she finally came to see me, her knee cartilage had worn down to the point where bone was rubbing on bone in one spot. We didn't stop her from walking. We changed how she walked, when she walked, and what she did before and after. Within 3 weeks, the pain dropped by half. Within 2 months, she was moving better than she had in years. Here's the fix. Walk softer. Shorter strides, quicker cadence, softer foot strike. Think of landing on your midfoot, not your heel. Walk on grass, dirt trails, or tracks whenever you can. Pavement is the enemy of aging joints. And this is key. Never walk without doing 5 minutes of joint prep first. I'll show you exactly what that looks like when we get to number 1. But for now, just know this. Walking isn't the problem. Walking without prep, without recovery, without balance, that's what breaks you down. Here's the kicker. Most people double down on walking when their knees start to hurt because they think more mileage equals more health. It's the exact opposite of what your body needs. Which brings us to number 5. Number 5. The cardio confusion. We've been told for decades that cardio is king. Get your heart rate up, keep it there, burn calories, live longer. And yes, cardiovascular fitness matters. But after 60, The kind of cardio that actually protects your heart and your joints looks nothing like what you see people doing at the gym. Long, steady-state cardio, the kind where you're huffing and puffing for 30 or 40 minutes straight, triggers a stress response in an aging body that can do more harm than good. Cortisol goes up. Inflammation goes up. Muscle breaks down faster than it rebuilds. And your joints? They're just taking a beating the whole time. Research from exercise physiology labs has shown that older adults who engage in moderate to high-intensity continuous cardio without adequate recovery often see elevated markers of systemic inflammation and accelerated loss of muscle mass. The sweet spot for people over 60 isn't more cardio. It's smarter cardio. Shorter bursts, longer rest, movements that challenge your heart without grinding down your structure. Here's what that looks like in practice. Instead of a 30-minute walk at the same pace, try 10 minutes of varied movement. Walk at a comfortable pace for 2 minutes. Speed up for 30 seconds. Slow down. Add in 10 bodyweight squats. Walk again. Stop and do 10 arm circles. The goal is to spike your heart rate briefly, let it recover, spike it again. This kind of interval approach has been shown to improve cardiovascular fitness just as effectively as long, steady cardio, but with a fraction of the joint stress and a much lower inflammatory load. I worked with a guy named Robert, 68, retired firefighter. He'd been running 3 miles a day since his 40s. Thought he was doing everything right, but his knees were shot, his lower back ached constantly, and his resting heart rate was higher than it should have been. Classic overtraining in an aging body. We cut his running down to twice a week, short and easy, and replaced the other days with 10-minute movement sessions. Squats, step-ups, crawling patterns, some light resistance band work. Within a month, his resting heart rate dropped 8 beats per minute. His knee pain disappeared, and he told me he had more energy at the end of the day than he'd had in 5 years. The principle here is simple. After 60, your body doesn't need more stress. It needs smarter stress. Short, varied, recovery-focused. And that leads us straight into number 4, which is going to flip everything you thought you knew about strength. Number 4. The muscle mobility myth. Most people think they have to choose. Either you lift weights and get strong, or you stretch and stay flexible. But after 60, that's a false choice. And picking one over the other is a fast track to injury. Here's the truth. Strength without mobility is brittle. Mobility without strength is unstable. You need both in equal measure every single day. Let's talk about what happens when you ignore mobility. Your joints start moving in smaller and smaller ranges. Your hips get tight. Your shoulders round forward. Your ankles lose dorsiflexion, which is just a fancy way of saying your foot can't pull up toward your shin the way it used to. And when your joints can't move the way they're designed to, your body compensates. It recruits the wrong muscles, puts stress on the wrong structures, and eventually something gives. A torn rotator cuff. A herniated disc. A fall that ends in a fracture. Now flip it. Say you're all about flexibility. You stretch every day, you can still touch your toes, you feel loose. But you never challenge your muscles to produce force, to stabilize under load. Your tendons get weak. Your bones lose density. And when you need to catch yourself from a trip, or lift something heavy, or get up off the floor, your body doesn't have the strength to protect itself. Studies on aging populations have found that individuals who combined resistance training with daily mobility work had significantly lower rates of falls, fractures, and joint injuries compared to those who did one or the other. The combination is what matters. Here's the protocol. Every morning, before you do anything else, spend 5 minutes moving your joints through their full range. I'm talking about slow, controlled circles for your ankles, knees, hips, spine, shoulders, wrists, neck. No stretching. No forcing. Just exploring the space your joints can move through. Then, 3 times a week, do some kind of resistance work. Bodyweight squats, push-ups against a counter, rows with a resistance band, anything that makes your muscles work hard for 30 to 60 seconds. You don't need a gym. You don't need heavy weights. You just need consistent, progressive tension. I had a woman named Linda, 61, who came to me with chronic shoulder pain. She'd been doing yoga for years, super flexible, could do poses most people half her age couldn't touch. But her shoulders were unstable. Every time she reached overhead, something clicked. We added in 3 sets of light resistance band pulls, twice a week. That's it. In 2 weeks, the clicking stopped. In 6 weeks, she could lift her grandkids without fear. The lesson? Mobility gets you into position. Strength keeps you there. You need both. And if you're only doing one, you're leaving your body exposed. Which is exactly what makes number 3 so dangerous. Number 3. The balance blind spot. Here's a stat that should scare you. 1 in 4 adults over 65 will fall this year. And for those who fall, the stats get worse. 20% of falls result in serious injury. Hip fractures, head trauma, broken wrists. And here's the part that nobody talks about. The fear of falling again often does more damage than the fall itself. People stop moving. They stop going out. They lose independence. And once that spiral starts, it's incredibly hard to reverse. But here's what's wild. Most falls aren't caused by weak legs or bad vision or slippery floors. They're caused by a breakdown in your balance system. And that system, the one that keeps you upright without you even thinking about it, starts to decline after 60 if you don't train it. Your inner ear, your proprioception, which is your body's sense of where it is in space, your reaction time, all of it gets slower and less reliable. And the thing is, you don't notice it happening until you're mid-fall. Research tracking balance and fall risk has consistently shown that simple balance exercises, done daily, can cut fall risk by nearly half. We're not talking about complex routines. We're talking about standing on one foot while you brush your teeth, walking heel to toe down a hallway, closing your eyes while you stand still for 30 seconds. Let me tell you about James. 71, former engineer, sharp as a tack. He fell getting out of bed one morning. No warning, no dizziness, just boom on the floor. Bruised his hip, shook his confidence. He didn't want to leave the house after that. When I asked him to stand on one leg, he couldn't hold it for 5 seconds. His balance system had quietly deteriorated over years of not being challenged. We started simple. Every morning, while his coffee brewed, he stood on one leg for as long as he could. Started at 5 seconds. Within 2 weeks, he was up to 30. Within a month, he could do a minute on each side with his eyes closed. His confidence came back. He started going to the grocery store again, taking walks, living his life. Here's your action step. Right now, stand up. Find something stable to hold on to if you need it. Lift one foot off the ground and see how long you can balance. If you can't make it to 30 seconds, you've got work to do. And that work might be the most important thing you do all week. Because a fall at 70 isn't just a fall. It's a life changer. And the crazy thing is, it's preventable with 5 minutes a day. Which brings me to number 2. And this is the one most people get wrong. The flexibility versus control mistake. Number 2. The stretching trap. I'm about to tell you something that goes against 50 years of gym class advice. Stretching, the way most people do it, doesn't help you after 60. In fact, it can make things worse. Let me explain. When you pull a muscle into a long, static stretch, you're teaching it to relax, to let go of tension. That sounds good, right? Except after 60, your muscles aren't too tight. They're too weak in their lengthened position. Your hamstrings feel tight because they're working overtime to stabilize a pelvis that doesn't move the way it used to. Your hip flexors feel tight because your glutes aren't firing properly. Stretching them more just makes them longer and weaker, which means they have to work even harder to keep you stable. What you need instead is control. You need to teach your muscles to be strong through their full range of motion. That's not stretching. That's active mobility. It's the difference between pulling your knee to your chest and holding it there versus lifting your knee to your chest with no hands and controlling it down slowly. One makes you feel loose for 10 minutes. The other builds resilience that lasts. Studies examining flexibility training in older adults have noted that static stretching alone offers limited functional benefit and may even increase injury risk if not paired with strength work, whereas dynamic, controlled movements improve both range of motion and stability. Here's what happened with Dorothy. 66, complained of tight hamstrings for years. Stretched every morning, touched her toes, felt better temporarily, but the tightness always came back. I had her stop stretching and start doing single-leg Romanian deadlifts with no weight, just her body. Slow, controlled, hinging at the hip. In 3 days, her hamstrings felt looser than they had in a decade. But because we weren't lengthening the muscle, we were teaching it to work properly in a lengthened position. It stopped fighting her. So here's the rule. If you want to improve your flexibility after 60, stop stretching and start moving with control. Slow squats, lunges, hip hinges, shoulder circles under tension. Move to the edge of your range, pause, control the way back. That's how you build a body that's both mobile and strong. And that's the foundation for the most powerful protocol I'm going to give you today. Number 1. The 5-minute morning joint prep routine. This is it. This is the thing that changes everything. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Every single morning, before you walk, before you exercise, before you even start your day, you're going to spend 5 minutes waking up your joints. Not stretching them, not forcing them, just reminding them how to move. Here's why this matters so much. When you sleep, your joints compress. Fluid leaves the cartilage. Your muscles stiffen. Your nervous system goes into low power mode. If you get out of bed and immediately start loading those joints with walking or exercise, you're asking cold, stiff tissue to perform under stress. That's when things tear, when things wear down faster than they should. But if you spend just 5 minutes gently moving every major joint through its full range, you pump fluid back into the cartilage, you wake up the nervous system, you remind your body how to move properly. And the result is less pain, better performance, and dramatically slower wear and tear. The research is clear. Controlled articular rotations, which is the technical term for what I'm about to show you, have been shown to improve joint health, reduce morning stiffness, and decrease injury rates in older populations. Here's the routine. You can do this standing next to your bed or sitting in a chair if balance is an issue. Start with your ankles. Lift one foot off the ground and slowly draw circles with your toes. 10 circles in one direction, 10 in the other. Feel the ankle joint moving through its full range. Switch feet. Now your knees. Stand on one leg, lift the other knee up, and slowly straighten and bend the leg. Not fast. Slow and controlled. 10 times. Switch legs. Now hips. Stand with feet hip-width apart, hands on your hips, and make big slow circles with your hips. 10 one way, 10 the other. Feel the hip socket moving. Move up to your spine. Hands on your thighs, slowly round your back like a cat, then arch it gently. 10 times. Now your shoulders. Arms down by your sides, lift them up overhead in a big circle. 10 times forward, 10 times backward. Then your wrists. Extend your arms in front of you and draw circles with your hands. 10 each way. Finally, your neck. Slowly turn your head left and right, 5 times each way. Then tilt your ear toward your shoulder, 5 each side. Finish with small circles, 5 each direction. That's it. 5 minutes. Every morning. No equipment. No gym. Just you and your joints waking up the right way. And here's what happens when you make this a non-negotiable part of your morning. Your pain levels drop. Your movement quality improves. Your risk of injury plummets. And the wear and tear that would have happened over the next 10 years slows to a crawl. I've worked with hundreds of people over 60, and the ones who do this routine every single morning without fail are the ones who stay active into their 80s and beyond. They're the ones who don't need knee replacements, who don't live in fear of falling, who can still get down on the floor and play with their grandkids. It's not genetics. It's not luck. It's 5 minutes a day of doing what their joints were designed to do. Let me tell you about Frank, 74, retired contractor. When he started with me, he couldn't bend over to tie his shoes without his back seizing up. Walking upstairs made his knees scream. He was convinced his body was just done. I taught him this exact routine. Every morning, 5 minutes, no exceptions. First week, he didn't notice much. Second week, he realized his back wasn't locking up in the morning anymore. By week 4, he was walking up and down stairs without pain. By week 8, he was back to doing light carpentry work in his garage, something he thought he'd never do again. He's been doing this routine for 2 years now. Hasn't missed a day. And he moves better at 74 than most people do at 60. Here's the bottom line. Walking isn't the enemy. But walking without preparation, without balance work, without joint care, without understanding how your body has changed after 60, that's what wears you down. The fix isn't complicated. It's not expensive. It doesn't require a gym membership or a personal trainer. It requires 5 minutes of intentional movement every single morning and a willingness to do things differently than you've done them for the last 40 years. Your joints are built to last. They're built to carry you through your 70s, your 80s, even into your 90s. But only if you treat them like the precision instruments they are. Oil them every day with movement. Challenge them with smart, varied stress. Give them time to recover. Protect them from the repetitive patterns that grind them down. Do that, and you won't just add years to your life. You'll add life to your years. So here's my question for you, and I really want to hear your answer. Which one of these 6 truths hit you the hardest, and what's the one change you're going to start tomorrow morning? Drop it in the comments. Tell me your story. Let's figure this out together.